And welcome to The Entrepreneur. I'm your presenter, Alice Banda. Today on the program, we feature Benson Msonda, an entrepreneur who has opened an international education center with a passion for education and a commitment to fostering creativity and critical thinking. Benson has developed a curriculum that not only adheres to academic standards, but also embraces modern teaching methods and technology. He believes that education should be flexible, personalized, and relevant to today's fast-paced world. Sir, you're welcome to Zani Studios, and you're welcome to this interview.
Thank you, Madam Alice.
Okay. First things first, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Benson Msonda?
Well, Benson Msonda is a Zambian youth and an educational entrepreneur. So he's a Zambian youth born in Mukushi, went to the University of Zambia, graduated UNZA in 2019. Yes.
So what inspired you to go into this field?
Initially, I wanted to study medicine. I wanted to be a medical doctor. Some family members thought because I had very good grade 12 results, they thought I could make a very good doctor. But unfortunately, when I went to UNZA, I think things changed in the first year. I wasn't very strong in sciences, so I literally failed. Through those frustrations, I ended up doing science with education. So I graduated after 4 years, and I graduated as a teacher. So from then, 2019, when we graduated, it was a year that COVID came. So the entire universe was like, it was shut. So it was time for us graduates and young people to innovate. So that's where the story started from.
Okay, tell us your story. What's your entrepreneur journey?
Yes, so when I graduated in March 2019, I had my first job with Manali Boys. So I was working there, and the COVID period became intense. Then I got another job with Great North Road Academy. So one of the motives, one of the reasons why I started this journey was the inspiration that I got from Dr. Lozias Fiatombo, my former boss. So this is a man where I learned everything that I am today, and of course passion as well, and of course contributing to the economic development of our country. I believe not all of us can be employed by one government. So I realize also that we are too many teachers and we just have one government. So in one way or the other, I needed to devise mechanisms and ways of teaching and developing an enterprise that would employ our fellow Zambians. Yeah. Okay, so where the journey started from, there was a period when COVID schools were closed. So all the schools in Zambia were closed, and kids were home. And as a young graduate, coming from the village, we have responsibilities. This is a Zambian thing. When you've graduated, parents, other relatives, they expect you to, do something. So I also had my older sister who had cancer by then. So I had to find ways of making ends meet. Schools were shut. There was no way to do it. So I developed a Google site, and also I enrolled in an online MOOC called Apprentice. From there, we taught one student from Luxembourg. We taught a student from Luxembourg, we recorded the class, and then we started advertising. But at the same time, I was tutoring people in their homes using a bicycle. So I could move, by then I was in Emmersdale, I could move from Emmersdale to 10 miles, Lusaka West, Chalala, Avondale. There's no part in Lusaka.
Using a bicycle?
Using a bicycle. Okay. So it was very challenging, but it's something that eventually worked out. So again, I changed schools, I went to another school. That's where now I learned about the technology. COVID was in phases, as you can remember. So it could come, schools open, go. So we started, at that school that I was, we started now learning how to teach online. So when I left the school in 2022, I focused mostly on Bridgemark. It was actually BMK tutors, and then later changed to the education center that we have today. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So how did you identify the need for this education center in the current, how did you identify the need for this education center in the current education landscape? And what gap are you aiming to fill?
Okay. So you see, when I was at UNZA, we were learning a lot online. You know, there are these YouTube videos where you are in the library and you're watching someone, you know, usually from Europe and India, teaching you online. So when COVID came, I was very curious to learn how I can do the same thing. So we discovered Zoom, for example. We discovered Google Meet. And I realized that as the COVID-19 intensified, there was no way I continued going in people's homes because they were scared to say, you bring COVID. So we started learning how to use Zoom, Zoom application, Zoom education. And of course, we also learned how to connect, a web camera to a computer, then have a virtual class with someone in real time. So when we had that first student, I knew that was a breakthrough for us because usually the Zambian population, they were not so, they were very skeptical about online. So, yeah.
So is your school just online, or do you have a physical school, and where is it situated?
Our school is a blended education center. We've got numbers on campus. We are situated in Milima Road, 32, in Woodlands. So the school is not necessarily an online education center. It was during the COVID. But when the COVID numbers went down in 2022, 2023, we gained a physical presence in Zambia. So we started trading as Bridgemark High Schools, and we've got a very beautiful place.
How many students do you have? How many teachers are under you?
So for the students, we've got students from many different countries. We've got students from the DRC, we've got students from Zimbabwe, we've got students from Botswana, Tanzania, who have come to Zambia for the purpose of secondary education. So on campus, we have over 85 students learning with us, and we've got another population which is online, over 30 students who are online. And these online students are from mostly European countries, okay? Cyprus, Poland, Germany, the UK, Scotland, Luxembourg, most of the European countries. Of course, some are from India as well.
Quite impressive. Let's pause for a break.
This is Jimmy Muchindu. Keep watching The Entrepreneur on Zanis TV, the People's Channel.
Welcome back. In case you've just joined us, you are watching The Entrepreneur with me, Alice Banda, and we are talking to Mr. Benson Musonda, the proprietor of Bridgemark High Schools. Mr. Musonda, we continue with the interview. I believe every entrepreneur has challenges.
Yes.
Could you please tell us what are some of the challenges that you're facing right now?
Well, I'll take you a little bit back. So the biggest challenge that we had to overcome was the challenge of finances. I hear many youths saying that I can't start a business because I'm lacking capital. That is wrong. So if you're looking for capital, it might never come. So you are the capital as a person. I understand that capital plays, in terms of finances, it plays a very critical role in the journey of an entrepreneur, especially startup. But for our school, the challenge that we have currently is space. You know, we need to expand. There is so much market out there, not just in the local communities in Zambia, but also outside. That's why our name is Bridgemark. We are trying to bridge the gap in education, the gap that has for so long existed between the kind of education that we provide in Zambia or in Africa and the kind of education that is out there. So one of the challenges that we have is space. We need so much expansion. We've got aims of actually forming a boarding school very soon. So we need more finances. You know, we need more finances. We need more investors. We need people we can work with to invest in the school so that it can grow. The aim, of course, is to, employ more people, give employment to so many people. Currently, we are standing at 25, but that's just a small number. We need to employ over 100 people, of course, using technology and everything at our disposal.
Okay. And you mentioned that you're using a bicycle.
Yes.
Did you experience any challenge while using a bicycle, or did it make you fit, probably?
Well, a lot, actually. I've got many scars on my body. There were a lot of times when I fell on the bicycle. And one of the saddest experience was where I almost faced death. I was bashed by a vehicle, and I just found myself at Ngombe Clinic, unconscious. My pants were stripped, and that was a time I needed to give up, because I knew that what I was doing was really dangerous. I was a rider, a real one, and one of the reasons why I couldn't give up is because I had people I was taking care of. My elder sister had cancer, and even when I lost her later on, I made an oath to myself to say I should not give up. That is why we kept going. But there were many instances. Those of viewers who know me from 2021, 2020, I was commuting in Lusaka using a bicycle. There were many times I fell, and those were points I should have given up as a youth.
Okay.
And luckily enough, I never gave up.
Okay.
Yeah, never gave up.
Well, you mentioned that your school, you need to expand, and you've employed 25 people. Is there anything you are doing to give back to the community?
Of course, yes. I think I should also mention John F. Kennedy's words, where he said that don't look at what a country can do for you. Look at what you can do for a country. So for me, community outreach and being in education, community outreach is extremely important for us. I believe this journey of entrepreneurship is not just to benefit the proprietors. It's also about giving back to the community, and also helping the marginalized and the less privileged. So one of the things that we are currently doing every term is to give back to the community. So we're identifying orphanages, for example. This is where children who are less privileged, who are orphans, are being kept. So we are providing support in terms of scholarships. Because of where we are now as an educational center, I think we can afford to give back. So this year, the school pledged to give 2 scholarships from secondary to A levels to 2 students at an orphanage that we visited. Of course, it's a small drop in the ocean, but as we grow as a school, as we grow as an educational center, I think there's more to be done. We need to come up with a lot of programs that will involve the youths, the street kids. I think that's the way to go. That's where we are going.
Okay. There was a story recently in the media where a teacher was left out. He wasn't picked by government. What advice would you want to give? And he ended up committing suicide. What advice would you want to give to your fellow youths out there as regards work?
Well, that story got me very emotional. I think we should, as youths of this country, we should understand that we just have one government, and the purpose of going to college is not necessarily to come and be employed by government. I think we go to colleges and universities to earn a skill. What we lack in Zambia or among the youths is total dependence on one government. Okay, a teacher can be anything. To that brother who ended up losing his life because he's been left out, that was so unnecessary. I know it's very, very difficult, but one of the things that we can do, There are other ways of making our lives, active. There are other ways we can provide for ourselves as youths. We are living in a digital world. We are in a time where everything is at our disposal. We've got internet. We've got social media. Many youths who haven't even completed high school, they're on social media making numbers, and these are being empowered by big companies. So why should a teacher, feel sad about being left out on the list? I personally, I could have been employed by government. Yes, I'm a graduate. I could have been employed, but I decided to go, this road. I know it's not easy. It's not an easy journey, but I think it's high time we stopped depending so much on government employment.
And finally, what advice would you want to give to your fellow youths and even other people who would want to venture into this online school?
Well, Zambians, I would say that do not be ashamed. The problem that I've also noticed is that the Zambian graduate, doesn't want to be hands-on. The Zambian graduate is not someone who can do a piecework. Do not be ashamed. Okay, if you're a graduate from UNZA, from CB, or from anywhere, and you have just entered society, do not expect to be employed without any sort of experience. Begin to do anything that is possible. Entrepreneurship, I think, is all about looking at the problems that your community is facing. When you begin to solve those problems in your community, in your village, then you begin to enterprise. So it's very important that as youths, as we, those who are still in university, those that have graduated, let's begin to be more innovative. I never thought the journey I started could have reached this far. I never thought. It's a story that started on a bicycle, and here we are today, empowering youths and looking forward to more expansion.
Okay. Mr. Msonda, thank you so much for giving us your time on The Entrepreneur.
Thank you so much, Madam Banda. Thank you so much, viewers.
Well, viewers, thank you for watching The Entrepreneur. On behalf of my producer, Faith Katai, and the entire Zanis production team, my name is Alice Banda, saying goodbye and God bless you.